Gets open for three. Dagger!
The kick, and here it comes. Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals.
Such a long time ago.
2018 Stanley Cup champions. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
My approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Stevie, it's been literally, I think, a year since that intro has hit. I mean, it gave me goosebumps, but I was just thinking to myself, do we need to actually change some of the bites? I think we're okay on all of them. Beal's still a wizard.
How many of those guys are still in town? I know
Just
45
Beal.
isn't in town.
It's just Beal, I think. Beal's the last one. I think.
No. I mean, Ovi and Backstrom, whoever. I mean, the big guys on that Caps
Yeah.
Stanley Cup team.
Okay.
But all that Nats 2019 team is gone. Kirk is gone from the Reds,
man.
from the Commanders. See, I got to put money in the jar.
The Commander, that's going to take a lot. It might take the entire season. It took us 2 years to get on the Washington football team. I mean, that's not going to go well, I think, for any of us. I think the comms. Do you have a preference for the shortened Commanders?
No, they're terrible. We're gonna get into it, but of course that last soundbite, he ain't in town anymore either.
Who's the you still on Trump?
Complicated business.
I mean, it's such a fitting soundbite, isn't it? I mean, it's. I mean, we could talk about that too if you want, but can we start with? I mean, I don't think we fired this thing up since the Super Bowl. I think there may have been one or two NBA shows that you and I maybe did, like towards the end of the postseason. Maybe. It's all a little foggy, to be honest. I'm still trying to remember how to work this board, but baseball was the. I mean, we'll get to the Commanders, like you said, but I mean, do we start with baseball? Do we start with the unmentionable here and what happened with the Nationals? I mean, I very much didn't care to begin with, and started to, like, after that World Series run with obviously with the trades that went down leading up to it, like everything. And this isn't breaking news by any means, but as casual baseball fan Joe here, you let these guys go to keep Juan Soto at 22, 23 years old. He's still under contract. For the life of me, Stevie, I still don't understand why you pull the trigger and you trade him now. And I get he's going to have 3 postseasons. He's never going to be worth more, whatever. But I mean, if he's that good of a talent, which I think everybody universally agrees that he's that good, you had him for another 2 seasons here at minimum. You know, like, could you not convince him that this is the place to be and stay with the team the way you did for someone like Zim or whoever from 100 years ago when they had an opportunity to leave? I don't understand it. It feels like a big time punt to the fans. The Lerners are not short on money. I know they don't like to spend it, but they own everything around that stadium. They own half of DC from a real estate perspective. They have the money. So this doesn't, it's just such a sour tasting move. And, you know, what are we 2 weeks removed from it now? I feel like they play the Padres every other day and they're just, you know, salt in the wound. So I don't get it. I mean, the fan base was waffling as it is. I mean, where do you go from here?
Well, I'm going to come off as a Rizzo apologist, and you can get on my case.
Oh, I'm so surprised.
But listen, the first reaction is it was a stomach punch. I mean, you're talking about a guy with an 8 and a 5-year-old who have Soto jerseys, who have hats that say "Mini." Way to
make it
Soto
about you, by the
it.
way. Keep going. Okay,
I will make it about me. Okay, like, I mean, this will speak to the millennials, to our woke audience. I mean, it's a stomach punch initially, but then when you understand the situation and you don't let emotion kind of carry you through.
He's under contract. You're going to get him at $25 million for 2 more seasons.
Let me explain to an amateur. The situation is, you have a guy who you gave your best and final offer to. Joe, you're in the real estate world. You gave your best and final offer.
There's always another offer after the offer.
No, that was it. If he passed,
was it good enough of an offer?
Oh, yeah.
440 was enough.
It wasn't the 440 that he had a problem with. It was the average annual value. He wanted to get a higher average annual value than Max Scherzer, who's making $43 million on a 3-year contract.
Okay.
So, I mean, if he wants to make $45 million a year over 13 years, that's $500 million. He was given an opportunity to make $440 million over 13, 15 years to guarantee himself, you know,
be here for his career.
entire livelihood right there. There's a great contract offer, no deferments, which is what the I was going to say the Rizzos, what the learners usually do. No deferments. They sucked it up. Of course, realizing they're going to sell the team in a matter of months. So it's not even their money anyway. And he basically made it clear, I will not accept any contract. I'm going to free agency.
Well, it's Boris.
And you have a very strong risk of losing me. Now, he goes to San Diego.
But hold on. Free agency was 2 years. It's 2 years away.
Yeah, but
it's 2 years
getting
away.
Getting rid of him now gives you more options. A team, there's very few teams that are going to take a 1-year rental for a guy like Soto with no guarantee that he's going to re-sign.
But you say that, so but they traded Max last year on a 1-year rental, right?
It's different.
Why is it different? He's younger. Older, he's better and younger.
Exactly.
So there would be more people willing to say, let's get him in here.
Not to trade their whole farm system. Max came back with 1 or 2 big guys, Max and Trey, for Keybear and Josiah. We took the Padres' whole farm system. Not a lot of teams are going to be willing to give up their entire farm system for half a season of Juan Soto. Now, look, he goes to San Diego. And what people don't realize is in his first press conference, he told them he looks forward to helping them for the next 2 years until free agency. Basically telling them.
That's a Scott Boras thing. By the way, I hate Scott Boras. I never want to hear about Scott Boras and the special relationship he has with the Nationals or any other team for that matter. He's a shill. I never want to hear his name associated with.
Worst.
Yeah.
He's a shark.
And frankly, he took advantage of Rizzo. I think he soundly beat Rizzo in these negotiations. I know you're a Rizzo like guy, but
no.
It's the truth.
He leaked the contract, and Rizzo said that really hurt us with our relationship with Juan, with our relationship with the fans, with everybody. He leaked the details of the contract, and then at that point, it was right before the All-Star game. Soto was going to the Derby, and of course, he ended up winning the Derby.
He was all salty about the flying commercial versus private thing. I don't know. Is that a thing? Is that a thing?
Nonsense.
I mean, is it? I mean, they should have sent. Hold on. Which part is nonsense?
I think it was nonsense how it happened. I think
meaning the learners should have given him
situation,
but he should have flown private, right? Or it doesn't matter. I don't know. Like this is one of those. Yeah, I didn't think it mattered either. I think it just became a soundbite because Boris made it one. Yeah, like I
exactly. He was doing his annual State of the Union,
State of the Boris,
the All-Star game. Yeah, and he created drama when there was no drama, and but hey, let's look right now. Juan Soto on the San Diego Padres they're below 500 since the trade, and they played us for 6 of the 6, I feel 7
like
games.
It's been yeah.
And then they get the news of Tatis being suspended for 80 games, almost crushing their postseason run now. It's like, look at Soto. He's hit 2 home runs since then. Joey Manessa, a kid that it's taken him 10 years to get into the league since they called him up after the Soto trades, hit 4 home runs and is batting a higher.
Yeah, but nobody cares.
But
and you know that, like in this town in particular, like nobody cares. Like we're drawn to names. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Like DC doesn't have that baseball tradition, even with the World Series win being just 2 years removed or 2.5 years removed.
And what I'm telling you is if in 2 years, this team is a contender again, because Josiah Gray, Keibert Ruiz, CJ Abrams, Cade Cavalli, all these young guys.
So you're pushing all the chips in on Rizzo. That he's got another one in him. He's got another quick rebuild in him.
If he does, he is a genius.
Okay. But do you think he does?
I think what he got back is...
It was a good return. I mean, again, I'm as a casual fan, I understand the value that was the return value of what he got. I get that, but you got to sell tickets and merch and get people to go to the ballpark. And I mean, have you been since Soto was traded?
I have. Well, I went and saw Soto when he came.
Okay,
so I don't know if that counts, but it's miserable. It's boring, and you know what? People are still there. DC is an event town. And somehow the neighborhood around Nats Park has created a platform where tickets aren't cheap. Tickets are not cheap still. And people are still going out there and spending an evening at the park. And they're going out to a restaurant. They're going out to the Salt Line, All Purpose, Asteri Marini. They're going out to all these restaurants, then going to the ballpark and making a night of it. And so I don't think they've been suffering that much. Now, of course, school is starting, and there will be a fall drop off because they're not in contention.
Sure.
But again, if you get back in contention in a year or two,
okay.
I mean, it'll be
so let's pivot and talk about the learners here for a second. I mean, they appear to be poised to sell the team. I think at this point, it's just a matter of who and when. I mean, it's going to happen here pretty soon. I guess I could argue it either way, Stevie. The team is more valuable with Soto on it for 2 years, and the incoming owner, the new ownership team, can figure out how they want to handle him, trade him, extend him and Rizzo in particular. I also understand the opposite. Let's get rid of the biggest contract that we potentially have. Strauss is still, I think, on the books for 3 more years, I think. So he's gonna. I mean, that might be the noose that kind of just hangs out for a while. But regardless, the team now is ready to be sold, right? And the learners they're not going to sell 100%. I think this is one of those footnotes that I picked up on. They're looking to offload 75 to 80% of the team. So basically keeping a minority stake in the team, the real estate all around. I mean, they literally own everything around the ballpark. Everything. Every restaurant you just rattled off is leasing from a company that is owned by the learners. They own everything. So cash is not the problem. Cash flow is not the problem, which is why it makes it a little annoying when they have an opportunity with someone like Soto. Like 440 wasn't going to keep him here. Would 500 have done it? And would they really have felt it? No, they wouldn't have, but they didn't want to do it. And historically they haven't done it. So the learners are now in a position to sell. And I've heard everything from your guy Mervis, right? Ronnie Mervis is in the mix apparently, to Bezos, like all the usual suspects, right, in and around DC. When do you anticipate that we will have a new ownership group? And what will their first order of business be? The ballpark doesn't need any upgrading. It's still one of the nicer ones. It's relatively new. We hosted obviously the All-Star break, home run derby. It was, when was Bryce's last season? It was 18. I think it was 18.
I think it was 18. Don't forget Lady Gaga a couple weeks ago.
Okay, thank you. So, the ballpark is fine, and the area around it, like you said, is booming. So, what's their first order of business when they come in here? Or do they put fuel on the fire of Rizzo and extend him? Because I think Rizzo's done at the end of next season, right? I mean, and he's typically only gotten 2-year extensions, back to back to back now for going on 8 years. So, what do you think happens with the ownership group and who's going to come in here and actually buy this team out?
Well, I think based on everything you said is correct. I think in the next couple months, there will be a serious buyer to emerge. Obviously, the early reporting, Chelsea Jane, Washington Post, all those guys are talking about their 5 potential buyers. A couple of them international guys. I think there's some Japanese guys in the mix. And so I think a serious buyer or two will emerge, and I think a price will be leaked. And right now, we don't know, but it's in the I think the Cardinals were just in that $1.4 billion. So we're talking about a $2 billion potential sale here. And so you're right. I mean, it's a well-oiled, well-run machine in the sense of your leadership team, Davey Martinez, Mike Rizzo, are on the books for the next 2 years. I think your stadium, the amenities around the stadium are really set in place. I don't think there's a lot that an owner needs to do. I mean, you can compare it to a new owner coming into a Commanders situation where it would need an entire overhaul, a new stadium, new whatever Jason Wright is, new things like that. I think this is a sweet deal. I think it's a sweet position to be in. You have an established, proven leadership group, an established, proven entity in Nats Park and the surrounding neighborhood. It's not a bad gig for a Leonsis, a foreign investor, your boy Mervis. I mean, these guys, a Bezos, if he really wants to do something in DC, it's become a DC powerhouse.
Would you say they're more attractive? It's hard to say, though. They're not more attractive than the Commanders, right? If both were up for sale, you would imagine the Commanders and the NFL would go first. But still,
the stadium
I think
is such a huge asset.
If you were investor X or super deep pocket guy X, you would go after the NFL franchise before you'd go after the baseball franchise.
With the Dumfries Stadium?
With nothing. Exactly as it sits today. With the dumpy FedEx and the trash roster and the whatever, all of it. You would have to go to the NFL first. It's going to cost you a lot more, but
it's going to cost you a lot more. But I know you're saying the value of the entity, the NFL versus Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not as down on MLB. You were talking. I know we were talking offline about how gimmicky.
Baseball. Yeah. Talk about gimmicky. Like, does the NFL have to play a game in a
London?
Like,
yes.
and that's hardly gimmicky.
London.
They're playing it in Wembley. They're playing it in front of 100,000 people.
Gimmicky.
If the NFL did what baseball's doing, they would go play on like a peewee field and have a bleach, like just like a random high school field in Texas, and put 40,000 people in Texas high school stands and call it a game. Like that's something baseball's literally doing it now. I think. I mean, are you distracted watching the pro
game.
guys playing on a little league thing? Like what is this?
We're not talking about it, but I mean, I'm watching the Orioles Red Sox game, and Orioles are the hottest team in baseball. So you drive up 95, and
Baltimore
and you got
Orioles,
a much better ticket. Baltimore Orioles are the hottest team in baseball and the most exciting.
What?
The Baltimore Orioles are in the wild card spot. There's no better team in the second half of the season than the Baltimore Orioles.
That's Manny Machado? Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's Manny Machado.
Is he on the team?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
He's batting behind Soto in San Diego.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he is raking. Actually, he's the
Wait,
best
so what?
hitter on that
I didn't
team.
know this. The Orioles don't stink now.
Orioles are awesome, and I mean they just called up their number one pick from a couple years ago, Adley Rutschman. They're playing lights out right now. Yankees are struggling. Obviously, the Red Sox aren't even in contention.
I can't tell
Orioles
if you're
are
pulling
the
my leg or
funnest
not.
team.
We need Matt the Met on here to validate. I'm actually
Where is
Googling
Matt
on this.
the Met? Okay, he's got a first place team, and he's nowhere to be found.
I saw him at church, man. I don't know. He seemed like he was gonna, go
At least he's got time for
it,
church.
smash his head
I
in the wall.
respect
Yeah.
that. Okay, good for him.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he's a Mets fan.
Where are
He
these
seems-
other guys? Who are these other guys? I like that you don't count a podcast done if it was FP and LP.
No, that's not true. Don't put words in my mouth. I listened to
We
the
haven't
last
done the
one.
podcast in a year.
I haven't done a podcast. I haven't been on a podcast. It didn't have an
you said
intro. Didn't have an outro.
DTC
Didn't have a
hasn't
plug.
done a podcast.
No, I didn't say that. I said you and I haven't done a podcast. Don't put words in my mouth. I listened to some of their show talking about, the 8th wide receiver on the depth chart of the Commanders. I mean, there's a market for that. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about. It's fine. There's open mics here. It's okay. We can share. I mean, I wasn't particularly interested in Ron Rivera's latest presser. We could talk about the Commanders, but first of all, I'm legitimately fascinated by the fact that the Orioles all of a sudden don't stink. So that's homework for me. I'm gonna go figure out what happened there. Like, that's interesting because they're not that far. And from what I remember, like pre-Nats, I mean, this is a long time ago. We used to go to Orioles games, and it was. I mean, Camden was a cool venue. I mean, it was like it was great. I mean,
I just took my kids a couple months ago for a Nats Orioles game. I mean, that place gets better with age. I mean, that is the opposite of women, but it's.
But like parking was easy. That's my memory. Like parking was easy, food was cheap, and it's not full. I'm sure it's full now.
We spent the night at the harbor. We took a boat to the game. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds nice. Okay, we'll come back to that. That's interesting to me. So, but my point was the NFL doesn't need to go play in a little league field or on a cornfield in Iowa or wherever they were. Although on TV it was pretty cool to have the players come out from like the corn stalk. Like, okay, like it was kind of cool to see, but like the NFL doesn't need to do any of that stuff.
Joe,
It's
right
like the
now,
NBA when the NBA didn't they the NBA for a while or no, it was college hoops. They would play on like an aircraft carrier, right? Like yeah.
the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. What Pee Wee Little League system is thriving and what is dying and which one is dying?
I don't know if you're gonna make that argument, we could talk about how every kid in the country plays soccer and no one cares.
No, well, that's when they're 3 and they're still peeing in their pants. Yes, every kid starts off with soccer because it's easy. You don't need a ball. You literally chase around a ball.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the Little League system. I don't know any parents. You tell me you've got as many parent friends as I do. I don't know any parents that let their kids play tackle football anymore. Anyone that is a parent in their right mind.
I'd have to think that through. There's a lot of flag football. I could talk about.
My kids play flag football,
Yeah.
and that's fine, but it's stupid, and they're not going to play it for long because it's boring and whatever. But baseball, I mean, my kids playing travel baseball. I mean, it's tryouts and games and practices and fall ball, and the Little League system is thriving. So I think there's no better talent group than the young people in the baseball in the major leagues right now. I mean, this is like the greatest group of young guys that are coming in earlier and earlier. So there's excitement.
But didn't the NBA have that resurgence in itself? Like in the half generation, like that came after Jordan, right? Like even Kobe's generation. Like now you've got basically centers that can do point guard stuff, right? I mean, like that's why it always drives me. Like you and I think at least for me, I still consider myself a basketball first guy, just because it was the sport that we all played, regularly because we could play it for whatever reason. But like it always drives me crazy when people talk about like the different eras of the NBA, and even with Michael, like I'm a Kobe guy. You can't take away anything from what Jordan did and what Jordan meant to the league, but he's not gonna D up. Like, I mean, I always go back to this. Like in Jordan's best season, the 20th highest scoring player in the league was averaging 6 points a game. It was Nick Anderson. That was it was in '96, right? The 72 win Bulls. That doesn't exist anymore, right? Like it's just a different era of basketball. You literally have like LeBron James, and I'm not a LeBron guy. He would be unguardable if he played in the 90s. He's too big, he's too fast, he's too good with the ball. His game is too versatile. And the precursors of the LeBrons were guys like, remember like Sean Marion? Remember the Matrix? Right? Like these like weird,
ugliest shot in the NBA.
Yeah, but he was super difficult to guard, right? Or even Dirk, right? Like that whole half generation, that's what I'm talking about. Like, so maybe is baseball going through something similar now? Because all I hear when I turn on like hardcore, like your boys G&D here in the afternoon drive, when they talk baseball, it's about the league has never had more home runs and strikeouts, right? Like the fundamentals are slipping away. Like, and then did the league like did something to like ban the shift or something? Like you can't move defenses around to encourage scoring or something like that.
They're experimenting with that in the minor leagues.
Yeah. Well, they also experimented with like extra innings, start on second base. Some of it works, some of it didn't.
That's implemented. That's a rule.
Yeah. But like people don't like it, right? Because it's like you're altering the game now,
the
right?
Purists.
So yeah, but like the league it's never had more home runs or strikeouts, right? But like there's no doubles anymore or triples. Like I don't know. Like something is just. Is it the freak athletes now, Stevie? Like what's happened all of a sudden? Everybody grew up watching bigger. Barry Bonds. Yeah.
Guys are bigger, but then you also got pitchers. You got Jacob deGrom, who is regularly, consistently throwing at 101, 102. Mm-hmm. You got, half of the arms that the Nats traded for in the Padres, these young guys down in single A ball.
What's the average pitcher throwing? What's like the elite pitcher in the late 90s throwing against McGuire and Sosa?
Nolan Ryan's fastball was in the mid 90s. I mean, you're talking about the ultimate pitcher.
Like Randy was 100. He was around 100.
He would touch 100. Jacob deGrom is getting faster. That's the freakish thing. Mm. His fastball was sitting at 96, 97.
So are there more pitchers today that hit 100 consistently than
100%?
Okay. Are there more
100%.
batters that hit home runs today than, I don't know, 15 years ago?
Definitely. And the distance that they're hitting them is Giancarlo, Stanton, Judge. These guys, you're getting mishits. You're getting, balls that are not hit very well, and they're just mashing them out. And they're just,
So I'm going to paraphrase what you're saying. That baseball is going to look better and be more engaging to the average fan as these players kind of come in. The Sotos come into their prime. Like Soto won't be the last Soto. There will be others built and function like similar to him.
100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll give you the last thing. I'll give you the ace card that baseball has. It is perfect for the Twitter, FanDuel, social media generation.
Because?
It's between pitches, I'm on my phone.
Oh, like live betting?
Between innings.
Live bets.
I'm playing a live bet. It is perfect for the idiot generation.
Why can't they figure out to speed it up just a little bit? I mean, like just a little. Like I know they've tried different things and pitch clocks and whatever. Like they gotta just a little faster.
I mean, you sit on the toilet on TikTok for 3 hours. What's the big deal?
I mean, it's I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they're related. But okay.
I don't buy that.
Okay.
What do people have to do these days? What is anyone doing?
Oh God.
What are these other guys that can't jump on a podcast on Sunday night?
Maybe they're watching the Game of Thrones reboot. I'm excited. I'm actually don't if you're flipping don't flip to HBO. It's happening right now.
I'm not going to ruin it for you. I got to focus.
I'm curious. I'm curious if they can can they restart a series while acknowledging how terrible the last season and certainly specifically the last couple of episodes were. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I hope so.
I just watched a movie called Vice about Dick Cheney. You would love it.
If it's Miami Vice with your boy Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, I'm all in because the soundtrack to that movie was wicked.
This one is Christian Bale as Dick Cheney, and somehow he gained.
I don't care about Dick
130
Cheney.
pounds.
I don't care about Liz Cheney. I don't care about any Cheneys. I don't care. Don't care.
You would be wise to see how corrupt that party is.
You want to go blow for blow? You want to go one, right? Everybody's on 45 for a handful of documents. You want to talk about your girl Hillary? You want to talk about servers?
Oh, here we
You
go.
want to talk about acid
washing?
I mean,
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, come on, man. Either you hold them all accountable, or you just roll your eyes and move on.
Have the IRS agents knocked at your door because you know they're coming for you.
Not on my specific door. No, we do our best to keep them far away from the home front. Yeah, I mean, you can't escape that type of talk in DC. You just can't. But I mean, you want to talk about Commanders? I can talk about the Commanders. We should talk about the Commanders.
Bad team, right? It's a bad team.
Well, I'll say this: I don't know how they will be better than last year. I don't look at them and see any improvement. And I was big this time last year. I was really big on if the defense can just maintain and just be equal to what they were when they went to the playoffs in Chase's rookie season. Fitzpatrick maybe could put them over the top and make them a little bit more competitive offensively. Obviously, we were super 100% wrong on that. But now we fast forward another year. Wentz is an upgrade over Heineke, but he's not elite, right? He's better, but he's not elite. But this defense is worse. I mean, they just are. I mentioned this to you guys. I don't remember when we were talking, like offline or whatever, but I think the defense is going to feel the lack of a guy like Ioannidis, right? Who's been just a stalwart. He's just present and in the like just in the trenches for so many years. And Tim Settle, like these guys that were the second wave, right? That played, 40% of the downs all over that D line in particular. Those guys aren't here anymore, right? And Jamin Davis looks terrible. Absolute swing and miss, from Ron and company. Secondary looks, Kendall Fuller looks better, but the rest don't look very good. I don't know how the defense gets better. The offense, I feel like the offense might be better, Stevie. I just do. Gibson, I know, has the fumbling issue, but Wentz should put those three receivers in position to for yards after catch. I think they'll move the ball better offensively, but I think the team overall will be worse because that defense looks worse. And JDR is just I don't know how they think they're going to get better without any real upgrades on anywhere on the defense.
I don't know how you invest that much in a front seven and it looks the way it looked in these two preseason games and a quarter and a half against Kansas City, a couple of drives against was it Carolina in the first game. I mean,
it's bad.
But I don't know what else you can do. I mean, you've made the investment. You've picked the guys that you're supposed to pick. I don't blame management for this. It's just a performance.
Ron, listen, this is we
Look,
started.
Did they reach on any of these guys? Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen,
No.
Chase Young. These guys individually,
But they let
are
guys
very
like
good.
Settle and Ioannidis, like they need those guys, Stevie. They need them, and they didn't let them walk. Everyone's making this big thing. Ron got J.D. McKissick to stay and match Buffalo's offer. Well, you need to match the offer on Settle also, right? Why'd you let him walk?
If your number ones were playing like number ones,
Okay,
you wouldn't feel it that much. Is all I'm saying. You wouldn't feel an Ioannidis,
Sure.
hole in your
You're right.
defense. So I don't know what else to say. They've got the personnel. They've got it on paper.
I will say Sweat looks good.
Sweat
looks good.
He's the best one they've got. He's been the most consistent.
Yes, I agree.
He just plays ball.
Sweat looks good, and you got to think that Chase, he's an upgrade over whoever you have out there, right? So like that's promising also. But did you watch any of that? Jamin Davis, and Holcomb, they are, man, they're not catching any. I don't want to say like a tight. They can't catch anybody. Well, I have to say they can't catch anybody. You get past them.
Travis Kelce, so it's not like.
But they were also playing no like jobbers from Carolina. Like there's nobody. Like these are nobodies. If you get behind these guys, they're not going to catch you. That's what I'm getting at. And Jamin Davis had a couple shots to close and like angle out. It was not Manziel, Baker Mayfield, right? And he couldn't do it. Like he just picked the wrong angle. He ran right.
I don't know if you were just going to say Manti T'eo, but we got to.
I was going to say Johnny Manziel. I don't know, but Manziel's in my head because he was in the Manti T'eo documentary, winning the Heisman.
Heisman. Yeah,
I could talk about. I feel like I want to say this publicly. Manti T'eo, I'm sorry for ever making fun of your invisible girlfriend. I didn't understand the story, and I didn't understand what happened, and I feel terrible because he is. I mean, I feel terrible. We got it wrong. That's my impression after watching it.
Renaya Chuasopo.
Yes.
I mean, what a horrible person. I'll leave it at that. I don't care what.
But is it possible, Stevie, that his play in the national championship game? So I remember that game, right? Because that was like 4 or 5 months after I got married, and my wife, that's her alma mater. Notre Dame was and that whole season, we were watching games every single weekend, Manti T'eo mania, and I remember watching that game and being like, this is who is this? What is this team doing? Who is this guy? Like something's up here, right? And then we moved on, and then a couple days later, the story breaks, and the invisible girlfriend, and the jokes, and all this stuff, right? Is it possible that he was that affected that he couldn't play, couldn't tackle? He's just that confused, finding out basically. Spoiler alert here. Turn this off if you haven't seen it yet, because you need to see it. But his dead fake girlfriend told him she was alive 3 days before the national championship game, and he talked to his parents, who were also like, "What an elaborate it's just crazy. The whole story's crazy."
Yeah, all joking aside, that Renaya character has serious issues, and really what she did to this guy is unforgivable. Manti T'eo at the end of it forgives.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know he was Mormon either. I didn't know that either.
I didn't know he was Mormon. I knew he was a person of faith, but comes off as the most incredible guy. And
he also looks
God
good.
Bless him, man.
Looks great. He's an attractive dude. Like,
I'm sure he's had a lot of real girlfriends.
But he looks really good now. He looks. In college he looked kind of goofy. Like, he looks like
he was also a bad NFL player.
I don't know.
He wasn't good.
He wasn't good, but could you? He was. Yes, he was drafted. Yes. But he also had injuries. But he was really never the same after that call.
Well, he was undersized. And to your point about the national championship game, I think dead girlfriend coming back to life is jarring, but so is playing Alabama.
Sure.
So you go from
he's trying to tackle Eddie Lacy. Remember Eddie Lacy?
It's a little different than the guys Notre Dame was playing at the time. So,
but he's also like a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, like emotions all over the place, and like the whole country's been jockeying you over your grandma and your girlfriend, and like it just, I felt really bad. That was my initial reaction, Stevie. I was just like, man, I feel terrible. Like, I feel terrible for making the jokes. I feel terrible for him. Like, and you mentioned like the Renaya angle, right? But Renaya was also instrumental, and this is the part that like it didn't hit me until after I turned it off, and I was kind of just processing it. I know we were talking about it back and forth. Renaya was the reason he didn't go pro after his junior year. He would have been a lock, first round pick coming out as a junior. We're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars. He stays because Renaya says you haven't finished what you set out to do. He has a great season, but he never recovered. He was a lock. He was a lock top 10 pick coming out as a junior.
I finished documentary and I hated Renaya. I don't care if they're trans. That has nothing to do with it. I could care less about that. Renaya made it all about herself.
Yeah.
And everything. And she played the victim card. And like you just said, she victimized someone.
Yeah.
She was the guilty party. And she tried to pretend like.
But why come back? Her. Like why come? Why come back? Why come back?
Who are we talking about?
Renaya. Like, you already told him you're dead or whatever, right? And this whole elaborate ruse. Like, why just stay dead?
Well, that's a seriously messed up.
Yeah.
It's a person who only thinks about themselves.
Yeah, man.
And what he or she wants at the moment. You're right. It's so messed up. It's messed with people. And he did this with many people. That was the whole, like, Manti was just the famous one to fall for, but imagine the tens of people that probably fell for this guy.
No, I think in the documentary it talks about as people would start to get attached to
He would get rid of them.
You would just unfriend them or whatever.
I know, but how messed up is that? Is even to let guys get attached to you or whatever? Like,
how would you feel if it was your image that was being used and associated with the fake girlfriend?
I wouldn't be crushed.
Diana something, right?
She was cute.
Well, yeah, but she was also like complicit indirectly. I don't know. Like,
no.
Go make a sign and do this thing and do the thing. Like,
she thought she was helping somebody. He said there's a guy who's sick or whatever.
Yeah, it was a good.
He should go to jail.
Well, I mean, Manti T'eo should sue Renaya.
That's what I'm saying. He had no punishment.
None.
His punishment was he moved.
Although catfishing is not, like, there are punishments for it now. Like, you can't falsify identities. Like, there's not specifically because of this case, or this, use case, but like, you can't do that anymore, right? And I don't know. The whole thing was just, it was jarring. Like, as you kind of watch it all play out. Like I said, I didn't know about his Mormon kind of faith and upbringing. But even early on, Stevie, like, he decided to go to Notre Dame instead of SC because somebody in the hall tells him, like, I just felt like you should be there. Like, it's kind of shocking too. It's kind of shocking too.
It's respectable. It's laudable. He seems like a great guy, and I'd
like to meet him. Maybe we can get him on the podcast. Although the ending made me kind of sad too. He's like, I have to remember, like, when people come up and say hello to me, it's not. Like, I can't hold people accountable or I can't assume that they're going to make fun of me or something to that effect. But I mean, I thought I was fascinated by it, and I would love to get his thoughts now that the documentary's out, right? Because they go to great extents to talk about how in the documentary they don't reveal that Renaya is transitioning, right? So now that he's seen it, I would be interested. I mean, not that he would have any specific thoughts on it, but
I mean, what relevance is that he became a girl?
I mean, sometimes no, I don't think it's that. I think it's when you hear the person talking about what happened. I don't care that, like you said, I don't care that it's big. I don't care that Renaya is transitioning. I'm saying, but if you're a Manti T'eo and you can physically see the lips moving on the person who altered your life so tremendously, like, I would love to kind of get his feedback. Like, when you watch this, like, what was that first emotion? Did you sway back into anger and resentment for this individual who literally put your life on a completely different trajectory 3 days before the biggest game of your life? Or are you truly in a place where it's just, he's doing whatever he's doing now as a retired football player? I don't know. Well, reach out to him.
I'd be interested to see what he's doing right now. I didn't really get into, what is he, running a business? What is he?
I don't know. What do all football players do when they don't play football anymore? I don't know. Marketing?
Coach football?
Yeah, I don't know. But somehow we ended up on this topic. If you haven't seen the documentary, it's part of the Untold series. I think it's 2 episodes on Manti. It's incredible. Definitely go watch it. And I love that new feature on Netflix. It's new to me, where you can speed things up. You can go like 1.5 speed, which is great. Did you know about this? I found it by accident. I love it.
It's on YouTube. I
don't know about YouTube. I'm saying on Netflix you can speed things up. I didn't know you could do that.
It's a very standard feature.
Well, I didn't know that. I would have watched Emily in Paris that much faster if I had known about it, Stevie. That's a good show too. But I know we were talking about the Commanders for a second. Let's not do predictions or anything until we get Razzle or somebody else on the show do them with us. And frankly, I don't really want to right now. But the team doesn't look good. The defense looks worse than it was last year. Chase is hopefully on schedule to return sometime soon. Wentz is an upgrade. I don't think anyone's going to disagree that whatever. But I hate to even say this, but if the receiving core is healthy, they're really good, right? I mean, Curtis and Jahan and you would think McLaurin, that's a nice 1, 2, 3. It is. No?
I don't know anything about that, but what I will say is the reality is if they don't produce a winning season, heads will roll.
No.
In Ashburn.
No. Dan's not gonna rock the boat, man. You think Dan's gonna fire Ron? No way. Who wants this shit job? Who wants this job? Who wants to come coach the Commanders?
You
Who
know
wants
what
to have
Dan
Jason
wants to do
Wright?
is-
Who wants to have
is-
Jason Wright walking behind them saying, "Yeah, everything's amazing. We're gonna
Jason Wright could be
we're gonna do a Sean Taylor memorial by the toilets." No, come on, man. Nobody wants this
Hey,
job.
Dan will do anything to get a congressional hearing off of his back and attention off of that.
Yeah, he's kept his boat in international waters for 3 months now because he's taking Zoom calls with the United States Congress. Right? I mean, come on. Ron, there has never been a more secure head coach with a losing record than Ron Rivera in Washington, D.C. in 2022. Never.
It's a terrible team.
It's a terrible everything.
I know that was a random thought. It's a terrible team.
Yeah, well, but nothing's changed. What's changed? The name got worse. The defense got worse. The coaching staff. Ron fired the defensive line coach during camp.
I think it was like the second day.
During camp. Like, what have you been doing for 5 months since the season ended that you're going to fire the guy 2 days into the new season? What
did you
is
discover
this?
on day one?
What are we doing? I mean, come on. Like, you're watching Hard Knocks. I'm watching Hard Knocks. I'm all in on the Lions. The Lions are even worse than the Commanders. Okay? But I'm all in. Like, they got their rookie up there singing Michael Jackson, and everybody's into it. They got what's the running backs coach? The offensive second, is it Deuce?
Aaron Glenn and Deuce Staley.
Yeah. Deuce Staley, Deuce McAllister.
No, it's Staley, the Eagles.
Okay, so you got him hyping up DeAndre, who I'm keeping on our fantasy league, but that's a different story. So you got this guy. Like, I mean, I'm riveted by this team, and Dan is walking around like, "Come on, men!" Like you can just see
He's
it.
doing up downs. He's not walking around. He's doing up downs.
Yeah, you think Ron's got up downs in him? You can do two. You think JDR can get out there and mix it up with the secondary? Come on, like, no. As bad as the Lions are going to be, I can cheer for that. Like that's like you can see that they're trying to do something. If the Commanders were on Hard Knocks, what do you think that episode would look like? Ron sitting behind his desk, calling in some, we're gonna have to let you go. And he's talking to a coach.
And then Del Rio would be at a January 6th rally. Okay, that would be the Hard Knocks. Listen,
he said he wasn't going to talk about it, right?
If
He
they
should sue the
move
league.
the team to
Look,
Dumfries,
hold on. No, as the
I'm
kids
fixated
say,
on this.
no cap, right? JDR should sue the league for the fine. He should sue the league. They're totally out of line, and Ron was out of line to fine him. He won't, but he could, and he should, because if he had taken, this as well as I do, if he had taken the opposite position, nobody would have cared. As extreme as we don't have to get into it, but if he was on the other end of the spectrum as far as political affiliation and views, if he was an extreme left winger, nobody would have said anything. No fines, no nothing.
Joe, I'm with you. We got to kill the woke movement. Okay, you don't need to beat around the bush here. Okay, I'm on team. Let's kill wokeness, and I'm pretty sure wokeness is already dead.
No,
I think the comedians.
The NBA just canceled games on election day so that they can pander to people that don't vote to begin with to go vote. No, we're not done with wokeness. No, they want LeBron James working the ballots in LA. They want him.
I'm sorry. If LeBron James and the NBA are pushing wokeness, it's dead, because that means real people are not.
I mean, this is all the NBA does.
Nobody listens to nobody takes their cues from the NBA. Is all I'm saying. So yes, it's
I mean that's how they try
Hollywood.
to. Yeah, okay. But don't tell me it's dead. The wokeness is dead. No, of course not.
It is dead. For any serious people that are not in Hollywood or the NBA, normal people.
Okay, normal people, I agree with you, but Hollywood is making a She-Hulk because apparently they've made too many Hulk movies without female representation. I don't even think I'm allowed to say female anymore.
And then 17 random white 38-year-old woke female
Hold on,
lawyers
we can't be post wokeness when you have candidates running for Congress on. Basically, the platform includes that men cannot compete in women's sports. No, dude, we're far from done with.
Wait. It's good. Men cannot compete in women's sports.
Men should not compete. Yes, they should not be able to compete in women's sports. But that is now a political. That's a political statement now.
and those people are winning elections.
I mean, your girl. Well, I mean, a second ago you killed me for you made a big stink about Liz Cheney all of a sudden, right? Her opponent. That was one of her things, right? Boys shouldn't be playing against girls at the collegiate level.
And she won the election.
Okay, Stevie, I know. I understand.
So it's good. That means woke candidates are not winning. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. I'm a little taken back by you right now. So you were not on Team Liz? You were definitely on Team Liz.
I'm
you're anti-T.
I'm
you're
a rhino.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been called a rhino. Okay, there's a guy in Clifton who we both know that calls me a rhino.
Is it the guy that made his way into a fantasy football picture that shouldn't have been there?
How do we get Ash from Clifton on the show?
I'd love to get him on the show. Actually, I'd love to get him on the show. There's a lot that's happened actually. While the mics have been off, there's a lot that's happened.
Is the next show a live show from the fantasy draft?
I mean, that's fine. It's fine by me. I have no issues. Listen, I can fire this thing up at any time. There's no problem on my end, and we cover everything. I mean, look, I'm gonna watch the game. Are you watching anything interesting after this baseball, Pee Wee baseball thing is done?
I'm gonna watch House of the Dragon.
Okay.
Pretty sure on your HBO account.
Yeah, you're welcome. Are you watching any EPL soccer? Are you watching the Arsenal? Are you watching Arsenal? They're. I mean, Stevie, it's very promising right now. Great start to the season.
No, I'm playing a lot of golf, and the other story that you don't care about is the greatest athlete potentially in our generation, Tiger Woods, decided he has morals and limits and turned down $700 to $800 million to play in the LIV golf tour, and has pledged his allegiance to the PGA Tour.
So he's playing against himself to guarantee he gets another major to set the new record. Because no one else is playing against him.
The man who had no morals and no inhibitions whatsoever for 20 years of his life.
But you agree he's playing against no one because everyone else, everyone that doesn't stink is gone.
Well, he's not playing against no one because he's not playing because he doesn't have any knees anymore. So, I mean, his career's done. But yes.
I mean, what's going to happen with that? What happens long term with this? Why does everyone care so much? Why is PGA getting involved? Why can't you play both? Why can't you be like the WNBA? You play here, and then when the season ends here, you go play there. Why can't you do that?
They'd have to coordinate that. And again, it's not that easy. I mean, you've only got a finite number of weekends and schedules.
I mean, soccer figures it out, right? You got players that play MLS during off season, basically from their European teams. Happens all the time.
Yeah,
Brittany Griner went to go play for her Russia team during WNBA. I mean, a little bit different, right? She's, I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that story? 9 years in prison for whatever CBD oil.
I don't care about Brittany Griner.
I don't know. I care a little bit.
Am I going to get canceled for that?
Whatever. You said you're anti the woke mob, so it shouldn't matter.
I am.
I mean, if you boil it all down, she broke the law and was punished for it, right? And that's what happens in countries like Russia. I mean, that's just what happens.
Exactly. I mean, and when you talk about justice, there are people in the United States that get punished for marijuana and things like that maybe we should be talking about as well, just because they can't dribble a basketball.
Sure. Do you think LeBron's going to get traded?
I don't care about Brittany Griner. I mean, you don't care about it.
I don't really care. Do you think? I mean, I don't wish any ill will. Like, I don't have any ill will against her, but I mean, she did something illegal. She was caught. She was tried, and now she's in jail. Like, I mean, that's kind of the end of it. Although she was done dirty by your boy, by Team Blue in the White House. Like, they didn't do anything to speed this along or help until they were called out publicly, and then even then, they've been trying to trade a prisoner swap now for like 4 months. It's not going to happen, but whatever. Shit, I got another question for you, and I totally blanked now. Oh, do you think LeBron's going to trade himself or get traded out of LA?
Where's Bronny?
Bronny's one more year till he's eligible for the league.
Okay, I mean, wherever Bronny is, I mean, that's. And you know what? As a father, I respect the hell out of LeBron, man.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool if he gets to play with his kid.
I love it. I think it's.
You think we'll see it?
Good for LeBron.
You think we'll see it?
Oh yeah, I think it's the worst kept secret in town. I mean, I think he's positioned himself to make it happen.
I mean, the trail of tears behind LeBron James and the teams he leaves. I mean, the way he leaves these teams, it's spectacular, man. Like, there's no way Cleveland takes him back again. They can't.
No, but I mean, it'll be wherever Bronny is. So who's to say?
Oh, you think he just shows up on like a league minimum?
Yeah,
whatever, just to do it.
Yeah, the Denver Nuggets draft Bronny James with the first pick, and then LeBron signs a vet max
player coach
or whatever.
Yeah,
player coach.
Vetman, yeah. Well, that's interesting. Have you been following? Did you follow the Wizards? Summer League? Anything?
No, they brought their old jerseys or new jerseys or their new jerseys or their old jerseys.
I mean, yeah, talk about it. Those terrible, the original Wiz, the Gilbert Arenas jerseys. With the cursive DC and the... it was terrible.
Wait, Teddy Leonsis.
Why does he step up and buy the Nats?
Yeah.
You can buy the Commanders too.
He should. Kava's doing well.
Commanders is a terrible name. It doesn't shorten. It's too long.
It's the worst football team.
I mean, FP was killing them because the uniforms don't match. Did you see that? The helmet, the jersey stripe. So the helmet is a matte, like, bright maroon or some weird color. The stripe on the jersey, like on the sleeve, is like red, and then the pants are like a different shade of red. Like nothing, like it doesn't look correct, and there's no stripe on the pants, so it just looks like they're wearing like long johns. Did you notice that? The whole thing doesn't work.
I'm trying to figure out the name of. They got a rookie running back that's very good, and they benched the other guy,
Mr. Robinson. Yes, from Alabama.
Gibson, R.I.P.
Gibson. The fumbling is problematic. Maybe it's like Tiki Barber. They just got to reteach him how to hold the ball.
Are we going to do a season preview? Get into some hard stuff? Not talking about.
I think we have to. I think on the next episode we should go through the schedule. Let's wait till they cut down the rosters. Let's go through the schedule, pick winners and losers, and let's talk about Hard Knocks. Let's talk about the first 3 episodes of Hard Knocks.
And then let's get where's Matt DeMet? I don't understand.
We'll get Matt.
I would like
you and him can do a baseball
preview.
Show. I already know the Braves are gonna win the whole thing. That's it. The end of story.
No, he's got to stick with his
If
boys.
the Padres can make it out, they're on a crash course to collide into the Braves. I think. Right?
It's going to be a hell of a postseason.
But the Braves
Red Sox just tied it up in the.
But the Braves are the best team in baseball, right?
The Braves are the defending champions. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball.
How's Trey doing out there? I miss Trey.
I
miss he's the one that hurts, man. Him and Rendon.
He's the one that got away, but
him and Rendon.
Hey, a new owner will have an opportunity to bring him back.
What's Two Bags doing?
He's a free agent.
Wasn't Two Bags? Is that Tony Two Bags? What's he up to?
He isn't. I mean, we've played the same amount of games, me and him.
Really?
He hasn't been on the field in months. They just activated Trout. I mean, the Angels are one of the worst teams in the American League.
Trout is somehow still. I mean, he was always considered an elite player on a team that never made the postseason. I mean, is he Cal Ripken? Like
he's better than Cal Ripken.
No. I'm saying, but like just a stud player who's on just a bad team.
Yeah, but now they have no excuse. He used to be surrounded by crap. Then they surrounded him with
old crap.
You know, the AL MVP, Shohei Ohtani, and Rendon and Brandon Marsh. I mean, they were stacked, and somehow they still can't win.
Isn't Albert Pujols on that team?
No, come on, Joe.
No.
He's on the Cardinals. He's got 692 home runs.
Oh, didn't they trade him? Or didn't he sign? Didn't he sign as to the Angels? Didn't he go to the Angels
7 years ago? And
he went back.
Went back to St. Louis. Him and Yadier Molina.
Well, I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know. Why you kill me? Why kill me? Why?
I'm just saying. Open a sports page every now and
then. To read about the Cardinals. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I'll do.
Open an MLB website every now and then.
MLB.com. I'm coming for you. Okay. All right, Stevie. My voice hurts. We haven't done this in a while. I got the muscle. We got to get the muscles back here. But
let's get the boys together this week.
I mean, I think we need Matt for sure. I think you and him need to get into the baseball happenings. I keep hearing things about the Yankees, and we just talk about the Braves. I think there's quite a bit to talk about there. I think we got to track down Razzle and FP. And like I said, I think we wait till the rosters get cut down, and we got to go through the Commander schedule and kind of see where all that. I don't know, man. They're going to lose a ton of games, and they're playing like the weakest schedule ever. It's bad. It's bad.
Let's do it.
It's bad. But in the meantime, hopefully Game of Thrones, the prequel, House of the Dragon, hopefully it does not stink. Hopefully it's better than the last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones. But anyway, Stevie, thanks for making time, man. Any final thoughts from you?
No, let's get into the fall, get back to our routine, and get this thing fired up again.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Always a pleasure.
Looking forward to it. Thank you for making time, Stevie. My name is Joe. This is Defeating the Curse. You can find this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. That includes Apple, Google, Spotify, etc., etc. You can always watch us live also on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, my name is Joe. His name is Stevie. This is Defeating the Curse. We are done.